Hi again, Riz.
Hello.
Still on Unit 1, but now we're going to talk about the Music Through the Years performance and the process of putting that together. So what sort of source material did you look at in the initial stages and how did you use this to then produce work?
We looked at different things because, as you can see from the title, it was music through the years. So we kind of looked at the historical context, and then we looked at cultures, like show culture. We looked at spiritual as well for the hippie scene, and we also looked at like music videos, such as like certain dance like chorus line, and musicals, and we also listened to different musics.
So how did you respond to this source material? So once you've watched a video or looked into the historical or social things that were going on in that era,
Yeah.
what did you do with this information then?
From this information, we applied it into the dances or the songs we were doing, or the scenes such as the mining scene. And some people didn't understand what was happening before they did the research, and then they found out why they were in that particular scene, why it was happening, and who Thatcher was, and the reasons behind it.
Can you give me a specific example of how you directly used an area of source material to then influence one of the scenes that you were in?
One of the scenes I were in was the punk scene, and I'm not really a big listener of that music, but my friend is, so we went to the library and we listened to certain types of punk music and videos, and it kind of gave you the vibe of what you had to do on stage. But that was completely to our own devices to devise after our meeting about it.
Yep. So once you were in the devising process, how did you use the select and reject process creatively?
One of the ideas were to use silly string and to spray onto the audience, but after one show we did it, we weren't allowed to use it anymore because it stuck to the theatre floor, so we had to reject that idea.
Did you come up with an alternative, or did you add anything in? Did you add anything in its place?
Instead of spraying silly string into them, we kind of ran into the audience and scared them a little bit by screaming down the ears.
Thinking about the rehearsal process now in the workshop section that we did, did you set any objectives for each scene? Did you set yourselves targets each week? I just want to know a bit more about how you worked throughout the process. Did you manage your time well? How did you like working with people from other levels? Because it was a show where all levels were involved.
We collapsed the normal timetable, so the timetables were different, and we came in the scene we were involved in. The dancing, my class had started before we had collapsed, and when we started the dancing in Hairspray, some students were behind because they hadn't started it yet, so we tried to help them with the small steps and basics, and then we all came together, and certain objectives would be like to learn a step or go off with another member student and like learn that step if I'd missed that day or something.
Did you enjoy working through this show?
Yeah, definitely. It was something different because we hadn't done a musical since September, because we had our site-specific piece and we had our pantomime, which had a few elements of music in it, but it wasn't me, so it was quite interesting. And we also had dance in it, which was also fun.
Thinking of the performance now and the whole workshop process, how do you think that impacted on the effectiveness of the end piece? Do you think the workshop process worked for a performance of this type? Or would you rather have been directed and scripted?
No, I think it worked. The only thing was like certain students wouldn't listen by going to certain sides of the stage, or that was just it really, but that was their own fault. So, but I think when we went off and like devised certain scenes ourselves, such as the rave scene and the hippie scene, which we kind of devised by ourselves, it worked out fine in the punk scene. But I think I liked it. But I think if more students came in on time and they were turned up to rehearsals, it would have been perfect.
Do you think the target audience for your piece was appropriate? Would you have liked to have changed that? Would that have affected what sort of material went into your piece?
I think if we had changed the target audience to be a more mature thing, I don't think how. I think there'd be more serious topics there, and it would be less fun and less light-hearted. But
Which audience did you prefer? Because we had a matinee performance of primary school children, and we had an evening performance of executives and investors, and it was like a VIP night. Which of the two did you prefer?
I preferred the primary school children because they felt like they were allowed to laugh and get involved with it and join in. But I think because they were executives, they kind of had that work manner around them, and they didn't loosen up a little. Towards the end, they did though.
How would you develop this piece of work for future use?
For future use, I think perhaps not do it through the years, but try a different thing, such as a one-based musical or a musical of our own, which would be interesting. I think though we used everyone's talents, such as the dancing and the rapping, because there are some rappers, but I think it was quite well, and I wouldn't really change it too much.
Anything else you want to add about the process? Thank you very much.